Now the man that we have been waiting for. In aankhon ki masti mein mastane hazaron hai. How many girls are saying this right now for this lovely gentleman called Nakuul Mehta? Can we please clap? I see so many hands raised over there. And I have with me a lovely chat show host, MC, YouTube sensation Siddharth Kannan, who will be moderating the session. Can I please have Siddharth Kannan on stage, please? Kya baat hai. Love you, sir. Love you, sir. And on that note, I'm going to be welcoming the man of the moment, Nakuul Mehta. Huge round of cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's the energy we need. Thank you. Kya baat hai. Kya baat hai.
Thanks so much, Subhajit. Give a round of applause for Subhajit as well.
I have a question for Nakuul. I have a question for Nakuul. Before, sir, आप begin करो.
पूछो.
ये जो milky गाल, silky बाल, and that beautiful beard that you have, what is the secret to that?
Of a working parent. दाढ़ी काटने का वक्त नहीं मिलता और बाल बनाने के लिए भी वक्त नहीं.
But have you counted the number of women out there who drool over those eyes?
Why are the men not drooling? Why?
Everyone is drooling. Everyone is drooling. On that note, I'll leave it to Siddharth, sir. He will take it forward. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Subhajit. Well done. Can I have some monitor, sound monitor also loud so that he can... Okay, first give it up for Nakuul, please, ladies and gentlemen. हम और नकुल बात कर रहे थे बाहर. Let me tell you a little background on Nakuul and me. We were in the same college together. And Nakuul is like my younger brother. And I've known his sister, who's also my classmate. And Nakuul and I were talking that now we're going to do a fireside chat. So, thanks, man, Nakuul. So good to see you. I'm very proud of you.
Sir, it's an absolute pleasure to sit and try to make a serious conversation happen here. We've never done this before, but I really look forward to it.
Okay, ताली बजा दो यार. हम लोग को भी अच्छा लगता है यार. Everybody, come on. So I have been told, you know, मैं बहुत सारे interviews करता हूँ, and I do interviews for a living. And Bollywood stars आते हैं, Indian film stars आते हैं, TV stars आते हैं, OTT stars आते हैं, performers आते हैं, वगैरह वगैरह. But in this day and age, there's this constant battle talk happening, you know. Hindi film industry, big screen versus OTT versus television. And somewhere, things pop up like, is television losing its vajood with online content coming up and things being churned out which are edgy, out-of-the-box scripts? Do you think television somewhere is losing its importance with the influx of so many new platforms?
Sid, thanks for that question. Before we sort of get into a conversation, I thought, let me say hello. Good evening. How's everyone doing? It's been a long day. Anyone wants coffees, I can quickly order. And because it's me, Sid will organize. Anyone wants coffees here? We're okay? I just want to get a sense of what is this room like? Like, are we from the network side? Are we creatives? Are we... Will anyone just raise their hand and shout? So I have a sense of the room. Wonderful. Great. The rest. Say that again. Say that again. Content creator. Who else? Like, give me a sense. Somewhere there, back of the room, anyone? Sales. Oh, nice. Good to know that. Okay. Anybody else? Baki sab, audience. Well, thank you, sir.
Arey sir, punchline maar diya.
So sweet of you. Do all of you have a television screen at home? More or less, right? Okay, great. As long as they have a TV screen at home, I think all of us have business. It's a very relevant question. I think it's a question everyone is asking. India is a fairly large country. Over the last few years, I think with the internet growing the way it has and mobiles reaching every household, in fact, multiple mobiles reaching every household, everyone has their own device, right? Which if you look at it from the business point of view, of course, there are more windows of opportunities. There is more OTT content which is being made. There is more of film being made. But just like that, the TV shows I make or anyone else here makes also has more homes, right? It's not just your TV. It's also on your phone. It's also on your iPad. It's also on your laptop. So from where I see it, I think it's a stage of growth. There are more people watching you, and your television show, which you might think you're making in a studio in Film City or Malwani like I do, is not just an Indian TV show, because I feel we don't take ourselves in the television business very seriously.
Yeah, you feel like that? We as in, you're talking about actors or everyone in the business?
I feel all of us. I feel we must have far more pride, because the shows we make are watched all over the world. Mind you, they're international shows. The last show I did, which was on Star Plus, was a show called IWMBuzz, was dubbed in 30 different languages. It went to a country called Kosovo, which is a small little country in Europe, to Gambia in Africa. And these are small examples. I'm not even telling you the Indonesias and the South Africas and the Americas and the UK, which everyone knows, right? So our shows are watched all over the world. They're translated in different languages. They're translated in regional languages. They're remade in regional languages. Hence, I feel that television will always survive, right? It's like when the OTT came up, people said, will films die? It happened in the West about a few years ago. Films didn't die, but I think the business model changed. Tentpole films continue to thrive, and like small indie films continue to thrive. I think the बीच का जो riffraff होता है ना, वो कहीं ना कहीं quality आपकी बेहतर हो जाएगी. So I think TV is here to stay, and TV is a medium. It's a language which speaks to the masses. It speaks to most of the country, and I actually foresee growth of all these mediums you spoke about, because internet is growing. So it's a good space for all of us.
Wow, you know what? I love this fact that how Nakuul said कि इनके जो soaps है, serials है, they get dubbed in 30 languages. So when OTT came in, people were saying, वाह यार, OTT को दुनिया भर में लोग देखते हैं, people watch it in US. We've forgotten the fact that television has always had that, right? Dubbing it. I remember, forget the city that you're talking about. People in Indonesia, a friend of mine used to say that TV stars can't stand. They get mobbed there too. What is very, very important is that you've been in the television business for such a long time. You've been headlining a lot of daily soaps, television projects. What are the challenges that you face? And how does a Nakuul become a brand beyond the soap?
I'm glad you asked me that. I think it's a very important question. So I've been in the industry, actually not as long as some of you might have been here. It's been 11 years doing active television. I've headlined 3 shows, which are actually not too much at all. I pick and choose my shows. I take time off. I have the privilege of living a life in between the shows, and gaining all life experiences to come back to a new show. But I think what is important, just like in any other business, I feel, is to be able... So TV shows, unlike web or film, in India can be not finite, which means if the business is doing well, it goes on, and we continue to milk it, all of us, all the stakeholders. I feel, and I can speak only as an actor, I feel it's very important to pace yourself. So in the last 2 shows I did, the first one ran about 600 odd episodes, the second one did 750 odd episodes. It is challenging because beyond the first 1 year, I think when you finish about 250, 300 episodes, everyone gets into some sort of monotony. Writers are writing every day, editors are cutting every day, actors are emoting every day. I feel it's important to pace yourself, right? Like, so in every TV show, there is a month or a track where, which literally changes the game for the show. And you play it on the front foot and you play it strong, right? But to be able to find inspiration and motivation and come back after that first year is done, maybe that sheen is worn off. There's another TV show which is as popular. I feel to still be playing it every day and still coming with motivation, inspiration, and understanding it's a test match. It's not a T20, so not every day will be a day of highs. There will be days you'll have to grind. There'll be days you'll be struggling with the material. And it's hard because writers are also creating on the fly, right? It's a very hard business we are in. I think we very often forget that whilst we also act or someone's writing or someone's editing, we also have a family life, which everyone has errands to run, right? And कौन करेगा? मतलब आपको करना ही पड़ता है. Like my biggest grudge is, मैं टीवी का कितना बड़ा भी स्टार बन जाऊं, OTP तो मेरे फोन पे ही आएगा. It's funny. Like I was doing this.
और बोलेगी तुम, जैसे मेरी वाइफ बोलती है ना बीच में, अरे रिप्लाई, आई हैव टू मेक दिस पेमेंट. अरे बाबा मैं स्टेज में बोल रहा हूँ यार.
Funny thing is, every OTP can wait and my spot boy can take it, right? Chirag's right here, is a very kind man. But I was doing this very emotional scene and it's a very funny thing. My child's potty seat was ordered. Wife was not in town. If I didn't get that potty seat, the kid would have to again use the diaper. I needed to save the kid and my marriage. And an emotional scene in front of us, right? So I had to, in between a scene, I heard my phone go off. A father's instinct went, took the OTP and gave it. No one was there at home. But I mean, the idea is to tell you that all of us are fighting all kinds of challenges. Through this year and a half stint on Bade Achhe, I have been, it's not something I'm proud of, but I've been so sick. Every month and a half, I've had a bad viral, bad flu, COVID, lost my appendix. It's been all kinds of challenges, but the show never stops, right? Like I remember I had COVID and I shot 2 days from home on my own. What I take away from it is, of course, the business is hard, but it also, I think, makes you very adaptable. It makes you very flexible. That when I go out and do work in other sort of mediums, I do theatre or I do a web show, I feel I'm so agile, I'm so easy. अच्छा ये रिसोर्स अवेलेबल नहीं है, टेलीविजन ने आपको सिखा दिया है, आप उस दिन राइटर की तबीयत खराब है, आपके डायलॉग्स आए नहीं है, आप खुद लिख लेते हो, आप इम्प्रोवाइज कर लेते हो, कोरियोग्राफर अवेलेबल नहीं है या फाइट मास्टर का बजट नहीं है, आप खुद करते हैं. I think that kind of adaptability really gives you the wings to take on anything, right? So I think, I'm kind of lost. Where did we start this from? Yeah, sorry, we were talking about how do you keep it going, right? So I look for these little learnings after the first year of when the sheen may be over, right? I think what is also important for me is not to run yourself dry, to keep away from distractions, which is hard. When things are good, there is reality shows on the offering, there are campaigns every day of the year. I try to pace myself because I know I'm here for the long run. I am here not just to, I mean, of course, all of us are here to monetize whatever skill we have. But my basic purpose is to able to, I think now, few years in the business, it didn't start off like that, is to be able to continue to hold that credibility with all my stakeholders, right? So my producer and my network is my first stakeholder. My audience is my second stakeholder. I mean, if they've invested in me and come back and sampled my shows and liked them, it's because at, somewhere back of their heads, they know that if he's made a choice, there must be something to it, right? So I think to be able to make those choices means also letting go of a lot of distractions, which I work very hard at. I think the third thing is, which I feel is very, very important, is to be able to build relationships while you're doing, because TV shows come and go, hit shows come and go, right? But the relationships one has built with your writers, with your directors, with your camera person, with your co-actors, to me, that is the real sort of takeaway from all the years you've put in, right? And if you continue to nurture them and give them mutual respect, which sometimes I feel in television becomes a bit transactional because you're every day working, right? Every day you're churning. But in the churning, to remember that it's a human job. You're working with human beings, and not to forget that. I feel that again keeps me alive and wanting to go back to work every day. So yeah, these are some of the things I try to sort of put at work. And yeah.
I always believe that Nakuul is always Zen mode. He's so spiritual inside, meditative. He's always been ahead of his times. But I'm going to come back to another question, which is Dekha Jai. Again, let me give you one analysis. So since I do interviews on YouTube almost on a daily basis, so I interview people from OTT, Bollywood, Indian film industry.
Everybody.
TV actors. But would you believe, and this is a strong, strong case study, that when we do people who are very good in their jobs on television, they get far, far, far more views and engagement that even renowned Indian film industry actors. And that's the truth and nothing but the truth. So-called, I hate these terminologies like Bollywood A-lister. So you have a Bollywood A-lister and you have a TV star. Would you believe your views, blindfoldedly I will tell you, will be more on TV side? Because people's relatability to TV actors is far more because you're there, right? You're there every day in their lives. But some comments come saying, you know what? TV has to up their game. क्योंकि OTT में बहुत वक्त बिताते हैं वेब सीरीज करने के लिए. The writers take months on end to write dialogue, screenplay. People put the project together. ठहराव के साथ बनाया जाता है. And television, they say, is a factory. ठक 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 दिन ब दिन होता है. तो quality of OTT projects would शायद be more better than a TV show. What do you have to say on that?
There's no denying that. It is true. But let's understand that there are different playing fields, right? Television, you can't, I mean, you're producing content every day. You're shooting 22 minutes a day, right? And that's if you have a good, like, you have an easy producer. I've heard of cases where people are shooting 30, 35 minutes a day. It's difficult to maintain quality. So it's kind of hard to compare it to any other sort of medium, I feel, but let's also understand that television show is a habit, right? So I have understood over a period of time that people come to it for writing, for the characters, for the relatability, like you said, and they're very sort of what's the right word? They're very easy on, you know, they will not judge your show basis how it looks or how glamorous it is, or I don't think television audiences necessarily today, and I'm saying today's audience is looking for nuance, right? And I feel the golden age of TV was 80s and 90s. It's the TV's 90s and early 2000s, actually late 90s, which I watched. We were still not doing daily soaps. We were making episodes which are 2 episodes a week, and they were still shooting it every day of the week, right? So for any creative job, you need time and rest. Our industry right now doesn't allow it because it's a different business model. So if it's a different business model, to expect the same, I think it's like comparing apples and oranges. Actually, apples and kiwis. Kiwi might be OTT. We're apple, but you need apple, right? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. So I feel it's like today the entertainment spectrum is like a thali, right? If you go to Makhan Bhog, तो उस थाली में सब सजा के खाना मिलता है, right? Or any other thali you like. Now it'll be difficult to say कि उस खाने में मुझे ना सिर्फ नान चाहिए या मुझे उसमें पिज्जा स्टार्टर चाहिए. थाली तभी कंप्लीट होती है जब उसमें वो चटनी भी होती है और पिकल भी होता है और डिजर्ट भी होता है. I feel that like it could be entertainment or content via television, via YouTube, via the shows you are making. It could be a podcast. All of us are basically in the same business of competing for your time, right? We are competing for your time. So if we get your time, now it doesn't matter if it's a TV show, OTT, I need to be able to touch some part of you, right? And I feel what television does very successfully is it is able to have this emotional connect, because here characters are telling a story over days and weeks and months. It allows you to come into my life and then become a part of my life. So it's also more, I feel a television audience is far more forgiving. An OTT audience or a film audience, which both of us also, a lot of people in this room will be, if you are not enjoying something, we are ready to move on, right? I am thankful my television audience is not that. You know, they'll stay with you through good times and bad when story is going through all kinds of rubbish days, which happens to all of us, right? They'll stick with you. So I think it's just a case of different products.
It's like, what I've understood from you is like having a best friend. And you've been with the best friend on a daily basis and you start accepting them no matter what comes your way, yeah, with the flaws, without the flaws, because you're saying, ye mera best friend hai. TV truly, I believe as well, is like a best friend to you, right? True. It's around, it's going to be around always. Theek ho, nahi ho, you accept it. Now, I've heard a lot of stories where people come and say, yaar, main actor hoon, maine ek acha show diya hai, phir show khatam ho gaya, and you know what, kaam nahi raha 8-9 mahina, but obviously you made good money in those couple of months or years, but you've taken 8-9 months off. A guy like you, knowing you very well, you would use that time to develop yourself. I remember during COVID times, I called you up and you said, hey, I'm doing this podcast and I'm doing this, and you were very excited. So you were using that time for self-development. You're probably one of the most intelligent actors I know. I've never said that to you, but it's okay. So then you hear people saying, yaar, एक प्लान बी होना चाहिए, क्योंकि यू नेवर नो काम मिले कब मिले क्या हो. नाउ व्हेन आई लूज योर, जैसे कहते हैं ना विकिपीडिया जाऊं या देखूं, तो दिस इज व्हाट यू आर. You're known for your social political poetry. You are a storyteller. You're one of the first few actors to produce on the web. So I can't say Nakuul the TV star. ये सारी चीजें जो तुम करते हो, and your poetry is also very intense. In fact, I remember during the lockdown, I should suddenly have you just talking to the camera and putting up maybe Instagram posts where you're doing intense poetry. Now, all these things that Nakuul does, is it a part of a well thought of strategy to keep the game long, have more avenues to survive in? Or is it saying, yaar, ye sari cheezein main karna chahta hu isliye main kar raha hu? Strategy or just going with the flow?
So I feel, number one, I think as an artist, it's very important to experience life in all its glory, right? What we do on set or on film, on television is summarize life. But I can't summarize life if I don't live life, right? So I think it's integral for me to go work on something, give it 2 years of my life, and then take off and live life and let life come to me and come into me and let people come into me and let me hear their stories, to be in touch with what's going on in the country, like when I hear many artists say that, I'm apolitical. I don't understand. Nothing in this world is, this coffee is not apolitical, man. It depends on, Assam mein kya ho raha hai. So you can't be apolitical, right? I feel all of us need to be, we may not necessarily need to express our opinion, but we need to be able to take in everything which is happening. And with that, constantly imagine the product, which one it is. So whilst you call yourself an artist, I also feel you are a business. Like Apple iPhone comes out with a new version every 6 months, which no one needs, but yet they make sure you buy into it. I feel if I am not going to give my stakeholders, which is my network, my producers, my audience, a more attractive, a far deeper, a far more eclectic return on their new investment in me, at some point, somebody else will be doing my job, right? So partly it comes from there. Partly it comes from, like I said, wanting to let life come to me and letting myself be affected. So when I did all the poetry I did with everything which was happening during COVID times and the political situation in the country, it was me reacting as a citizen of this country, right? There was no plan because, like you said, it was me looking at the camera. There was no like photographer or no makeup, hair, etc., which we usually have on good days. But it's because I felt it. And I think it's very important to be able to naturally express yourself without, and today one can, like you gentlemen, like here sir said, he's a content creator, right? I think today everyone is in their own way. But I feel, what is content? Content is an extension of what you're feeling. It's your expression. I feel as an artist, if I'm going to box myself and only let somebody else sort of package that content, which is writers, directors, DOPs, where is my true voice? Where is my voice? And if I don't have my own voice, when I go and collaborate with these writers, directors, DOPs, producers, I have no other stake in it except just showing up as an actor. I need to be there as a creative person and add to the product I'm on, right? So I feel when people ask, you've only done 3 TV shows across 10 years, it's because I feel a lot of my life goes into that one show which I do for 2-3 years, which go on. It's not just showing up for 10 or 12 hours and acting. It's a lot more which you take back, you process, you jam, you bring on.
And add on.
And add on, right? So it's a mix of both, letting life touch you and also being able to be cognizant of the fact that you need to constantly feed new things to yourself to be able to give better output to everybody involved.
Nakuul, now, what is the responsibility of a TV actor? One is, when a TV actor says, hey, you know what, I am popular, मैं बहुत popular हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे Instagram, YouTube पे ऐसी following है, likes इतने हैं, dislikes बहुत कम हैं, and you start judging your success on that, right? You do a project, and you're like, wow, look at the following that I have? Or is it not looking at that side and saying, you know what, my responsibility is more to the audience and the network? How do you gauge your success and your responsibility?
I think again, great question, Sid. My first responsibility is to not let myself down, right? When I 15 years ago, when I wanted to be an actor and I didn't know how to get my first job, all I wanted to do was first make my parents proud, which I think all of us at some place want to, which I feel to some extent I have. I think all the awards and the material glory in some way and people congratulating them makes them happy, and that makes me happy. But I think the biggest responsibility I have is to not at the end of this journey feel that I didn't fully actualize what I wanted to achieve. You know, wanted to be the best version of myself and sort of gave in to, kar liya, acha ho gaya hai, you know, not to shortchange myself. So I think my biggest responsibility lies there. Funnily, I've always thought that even on social media, I never really cater to or play to the galleries to what I feel fans or audiences might want. I feel it's just a reflection of the authentic version of who I am. An extension of who that is there. At work, I'm firstly responsible to the network and the producer I'm working with, and I feel that if I can give him a great value on the buck he spent on me, that is what my job is, right? So some people might say that Nakuul charges a lot of money to do television. I feel if you ask my producers, they'll say he's the most value for money actor ever.
Wow.
Yeah?
Lovely. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, there's another conversation, a debate that goes on. A few days back, I had a lady actress who's also a dear friend who's been around the business for quite a while. And then she came and she was talking about how social media influencers are overshadowing TV actors. I've also heard stories where people say, you know what, acha, aap achhi actress ho, अच्छे actor ho, पर social media following जबरदस्त नहीं है, तो शायद आपको project में नहीं ले पाएंगे. Now it's getting blurred. Is a TV actor or an actor supposed to be a great actor and come and deliver their performance and get a standing ovation saying, you've touched my heart and you've blown my brains? Or a person has to be an influencer, use those followings, get a TV project, and gets those eyeballs on TV because you're popular on digital.
Correct.
Where does one go? What is right? What is wrong?
That's a great loaded question again. There's a lot of truth in that. So there are two ways to see it, right? One way to see it is, yes, your digital footprint is very important. It's like your CV. A lot of you here might be on LinkedIn, and I think, I have this kid of reading like random corporate LinkedIn posts where someone's talking about motivation and surviving and all of that, right? So there's posturing happening there also in the corporate world, and there's posturing happening also on this side of the business where you're showing the great life you're living, the successes you're having. No one's really sharing like the weak moments, the bad days, in which all of us have a lot of them, right? I feel the second part to it is, it's great that today there's a level playing field. I remember when I was like setting out, there was no way one could break into films. I didn't know how television worked because there was so much of a hierarchy and systems in place and gatekeepers in place. But today, because of social media, you can have a random kid in Indore, in Meghalaya, who's good at something, has some skill, today can command an audience which is far greater than the biggest TV star there is, or an A-list Bollywood star. Forget why TV star alone. Anybody. And that is wonderful. Like, to me, a great example of social media is probably the second or third most followed Indian right now on social media is this very talented singer called Neha Kakkar. Neha Kakkar was an Indian Idol contestant, right? Not even Sunidhi's, not even Shreya's, who had a 30-year, like a 20-year career now. Today, Neha Kakkar has a following which is unbelievable. And how do you fathom that? What is the phenomenon? You can't explain it. But like what what right do I have to say that, you know, she's not deserving of it? Because of the following she has, she's also built it basis something which people want to consume, right? So today I feel, personally, I don't cater to social media. That's not my job. I go out and act. I go out and live my life there. But I use social media effectively, a large part of which I personally enjoy, and some part of it as a CV which is out there. So no one anymore will ask you, oh, what have you done, or can you send us your photographs? Your social media is your LinkedIn, is your CV, is your profile. So I feel it depends on how seriously you take it, right? I think in the last couple of years, that's my manager there, Rajiv Kumar, who Rajiv and I have worked for 9 years together, and I can't tell you enough the importance of having professional management in an industry where television is still not run very professionally, right? So I met Rajiv 9 years ago, and we've sort of together, I think, built this business, but never has money or let's do a social post, let's try to gain some influence been a topic of conversation between the both of us ever, right? In fact, this is one manager who keeps telling me, sir, we can't do anything which you will not do in real life, like poker, betting, all of that we're not here for the quick money, right? So I think it's a personal approach. I feel that social media is important, but it is meant to be an extension of who you are. But that's not whilst it is an important vertical and it generates enough revenue now, post-pandemic, it's not what I work for. It's not what I wake up for. I wake up to go to sets, put up makeup, read lines, deliver them to the best way I can, and everything else is secondary to me.
You know, so basically what you're trying to say is, you know your path, you know your vision, you know what you stand for, and digital is, by the way, enhancing what you're doing and expressing what you do as Nakuul Mehta, the person, right? What's your aim on TV now? I know you've done little work, but quality work. There is OTT, there's the big screen also. What are the viable options right now for you on television? Is it saying, "Acha, maine kar diya hai, ab I want to leave a bigger mark on web, on films"? Where's the journey ahead in TV?
Sid, I want your job, man. I think I'm going for a YouTube channel next, and now I'm going to call Sid on my show and compete with his channel.
You'll kick me out of business, brother.
But I think that's a very tough business. It's being an entrepreneur. You have to be so driven to drive that business. And I've seen you over the years, and I've seen how you've pivoted, right? From, I think when you started, there was no social media, there was no online business, there was no YouTube. And to see you constantly reinvent yourself is beautiful. I think that's what I aspire for as well. It may be another story on television, I don't know. It could be a story on the web, I don't know. But I feel there's a story which will call out to me. And until then, I'll continue to work on what I know best, which is myself, which is my product. And I think once I do that, like, the stories will find themselves home.
So that's Nakuul Mehta, the actor. Obviously, you produced very earlier on web as well. I feel there's a major keeda of you creating projects. You have a keeda. Do you have that in you?
I've always wanted to write and direct, and that's my eventual goal. And every time I felt like this is the right time to move away from acting to do that, someone or the other, some mentor of mine has said, no, this is the right time, you're doing so well and you're shining, and use these, because all of these experiences in front of the camera will guide you to be a better storyteller, right? And today, actually, I feel that, I greatly enjoy being an actor. I feel an actor is as much part of storytelling, if you work like that with your directors and your writers. And I feel creatively fulfilled because there's so much you can add to it. So my initial understanding of what an actor brings to the table compared to what it is today and how I work is very different. But I'm hoping that at some point I can tell my stories, and right now I do it in maybe 90 seconds on Instagram or Twitter or through poetry. But I think this expression will find its way in long format, maybe at some point, and if not, through the acting work I do.
What's been your growth as a human being doing bade achhe lagte hain?
What's been my growth? to take, my biggest lesson last year and a half has been to take your health very seriously. I think one of the challenges of working on TV, because you're working incessantly, right? I won't even say long hours, because now today no one does 18 hours, or no one should. If someone is, we shouldn't encourage it, But even those 10 or 12 hours which you do are very packed 10 or 12 hours. I mean, you're doing 22 minutes, which means you're constantly changing, you're constantly learning new lines. In between, you're also sort of moonlighting, answering a parent might call you, or your partner might call you. You're sort of solving those problems, being the fire extinguisher to other things in your life. I think what I've realized is most important is to take care of yourself, because this is my instrument, right? I don't have any other instrument. This is my device, this is my instrument. If this is good, I will be able to go out and entertain. I will be go out and be able to tell stories which I want to be part of. So to take care of myself, I think is key, and most importantly, not be stuck in the boxes the profession puts on you, or the society puts on you, that, oh, now you're an actor, or you're a successful actor, or you're meant to behave in a certain way. Very funny story, I just landed from London last night. I was there on a family vacation, and as soon as I entered, the air hostess, very kindly, Air India, just lovely air hostesses, and it feels like home and you're welcome back. Very kindly pointed me to the left, sir, please come, I'll take your bags. She assumed that I'm traveling business, which I always do at work, right? But I was traveling economy. She said, oh, so I said, no, I think I'm on the right, I'm on this seat. She's like, no, sir, I think you're mistaken, this is your seat. I said, no, this is the seat, I'm traveling with family, and all of us wanted to sit together, etc. And I didn't want to spend the crazy money, man. And I feel, we get put into boxes where now you're an actor, or now you're of a certain stature, you have to live a certain life and posture. I refuse to do that and bow down to that, because I feel that I want to be able to collect all these experiences, which I can only if I am interacting with society, if I'm interacting with people. And that very kindly, that air hostess actually got me food from business. She thought I might be missing it. I was perfectly fine there.
But business का खाना better था कि eco का?
Airline का खाना बकवास होता है. I don't know anyone who likes food here in airline. So, but it was fairly enjoyable. At least I could sit with my son. Otherwise, my son would have to be on my lap. So it was a fairly enjoyable experience.
मेरा ये कहना है, आलू मटर गोभी business में हो या eco में हो, सब सेम ही होता है. आलू का taste सेम ही होता है. Thanks so much, Nakuul. Thank you so much. Like I said, ये मेरा family है यार. When people, I was told Nakuul is going to jam with me, I was so happy, because I've really seen him from Mithibai College canteen. I've known his whole family, and the beauty is the entire family, the whole DNA is, they're also rooted. It's very important to be real to your craft. Sometimes there's fame, there's paisa, but once you're very sincere to what you do, everything else follows. And for you, you've always been this real man. Your thirst for knowledge is always going to be there, and you're destined for bigger things, ladies and gentlemen. Bas, YouTube channel चार को तो मेरा मत खत्म कर देना भाई. Give it up for Nakuul Mehta. So you want to ask a question? Okay, come on. It's okay. Sorry, Subhajit. Bolo. Subhajit, you want to give them a mic? If it's okay? अच्छा मैं आता हूँ ना, कोई टेंशन नहीं. आओ ना sir. Come. अरे don't worry. Come on stage. This is the content creator guy, right?
Hi, Nakuul. We really appreciate you said that nobody can be apolitical, and everyone follow you on social media. You you write a lot of good things against hate speech and hatred. We follow you regularly on social media, and even though during the COVID time you said a lot of things about this. But I just want to know, there are very few celebs who take on these very crucial issues like hatred and hate speech. How does this thing come to your mind? Do you think that it may lose your commercial projects and something like that?
Very valid question. So firstly, I don't think from the point of view that I'm a celebrity or an actor or a star on television. I look at it as my natural expression of angst, anger, as a citizen of this country. But because I'm an artist, I have my own artistic way of expressing it. So I don't need to necessarily be an activist and chant slogans and go out and, which is also important, do a dharna. I have other ways. I have storytelling. I mean, all of us, creative people in this room have other ways. You can write, you can stage theater, you can find, if you're a content creator, you can put up a piece in your own language, own way. I feel that is how, as artists, we will be able to affect change, right? And will it affect my commercial? Have you lost a deal yet, sir, Rajiv? No, not yet. So I think I think credit to people I work with and networks I've worked with, that they've been very empathetic and they understand this is my natural need and desire to express. Having said that, I'm also aware that I will never let a project, suffer because of my personal opinion. So I'm cognizant of that, but other than that, I don't take myself too seriously.
सर एक टीवी का क्वेश्चन है, कुछ सेलिब्रिटी से, बॉलीवुड सेलिब्रिटी से पूछा गया कि आप ओटीटी पे काम करेंगे कि नहीं. मैं आई डोंट वांट टू नेम देम. लोगों ने कहा कि मैं कोई टीवी एक्टर नहीं हूँ कि विच विल स्विच ऑन फ्रॉम टीवी टू ओटीटी. एंड सम अदर से दैट कि वी आर नॉट अवेलेबल इन 499 रुपीस. व्हाट्स योर टेक ऑन दैट, सर?
बहुत बड़ा कॉम्प्लीमेंट है, क्योंकि सब स्विच ऑन स्विच ऑफ नहीं कर सकते हैं. तो जिसने भी ये कहा है, मैं उनको शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूंगा. इट्स ट्रू, लाइक आई सेड, आई थिंक टेलीविजन एक्टर्स, यू बिकम सो फ्लेक्सिबल एंड सो अजाइल दैट इट्स इजी, और आई वुड से एटलीस्ट यू आर रेडी फॉर एनीथिंग व्हिच लाइफ थ्रोज एट यू, राइट? एंड 499 की जो बात है, आजकल तो वैसे भी फिल्में देखने कोई 250 रुपये दे के भी नहीं जा रहा है. तो मुझे लगता है जो 500 रुपये मिल रहे हैं महीने के, मैं वो रख लूंगा. आई एम वेरी हैप्पी विद दैट. आई मीन दैट्स अ जोक. But I mean, to each their own. I feel today a content creator who might be sitting in Gwalior to a film star or a television star or a sports person is as relevant, depending on the skills and your artistry, right? तो माध्यम छोटा या बड़ा नहीं होता, हमारी सोच छोटी या बड़ी होती है.
Thank you so much, sir.
शुक्रिया.
Thank you so much, Nakuul.
Thank you so much,
Siddharth sir. मैं एक ही चीज बोलूंगा, आप 10 साल में 3 शो करो कि 30, आई थिंक यू गेट 30x द लव फ्रॉम द ऑडियंस. आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट मैटर्स द मोस्ट. है कि नहीं?
Thank you, Shubho. Thank you. So kind of you.
And Siddharth sir, you've been my favorite for the longest of time. Thank you so much for joining us over here. May I please call upon stage Siddharth Laik, founder and editor-in-chief IWMBuzz, and Franklin Toscano, founder and CTO IWMBuzz Media Network, to please present the mementos. तो फाइनल टोकन ऑफ अप्रिसिएशन है, और थोड़ा जोर से तालियां होना है कि नहीं? प्रॉपर ग्रुप फोटो प्लीज. फैंटास्टिक.
अच्छा, सब लोग एक बार खड़े हो जाओ, रुक जाओ. दिस इज द लास्ट, दिस इज द ग्रैंड फिनाले. प्लीज गेट अप एवरीबॉडी. फॉर IWMBuzz टीम, सब लोग हाथ ऐसे रखो, ऐसे रखो. पहले तालियां नहीं, मैं वो आउटडेटेड सी है. ऐसे रखो सब लोग, और इन सबको बोलो 3 बार शाबाश, 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 एंड अ फ्लाइंग किस टू बोथ ऑफ देम. ऐसे. लव यू ब्रदर्स. थैंक यू सो मच सिद्धार्थ. आई लव योर जर्नी मेरे भाई. एंड लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, ये बहुत बड़ी पार्टी फेंक रहे हैं. तो 22 तारीख को ड्रिंक्स आर ऑन द हाउस, फूड इज ऑन द हाउस. प्लीज कॉल योर नेबर्स, द एंटायर बिल्डिंग, सोसाइटी, सबके लिए पार्टी अवेलेबल है. प्लीज आना, ये लोग दिलदार है. थैंक यू सो मच. सबको इनवाइट कर दिया भाई. ठीक है, लाउडर फॉर देम प्लीज. व्हाट अ जर्नी दीस गाइज हैव हैड. थैंक यू.
Fantastic.
नकुल मेरे भाई.